Welcome to episode 172 of the show with no name. I'm your humble host, Nick, and today we're going to continue exploring the Mountain View Cemetery out here in Davenport, Washington. I have a lot of people to talk about in this episode because Davenport has a pretty rich history out here. So let's get into this. I'm going to start this episode off today kind of on a rather tragic note. So I'm going to be talking about a little boy whose name was James Hutton. And he was born sometime in 1935. And he would tragically pass away on July 17th, 1937. He was only 1 or 2 years old. The Spokane Chronicle on July 20th, 1937 reads, "Child drinks Lysol, dies in great pain. James Leroy Hutton, 2-year-old son of Mr. and Mrs. Arthur Hutton of Davenport, died about midnight Saturday following 6 hours of agony after the child swallowed Lysol. The boy and the older brother were playing in a barn in the rear of the Hutton home. They found some old medicine bottles, and the stricken youngster drank the liquid from one of these bottles. A doctor gave first aid, but the boy could not be saved." James E. Knappert was born sometime in the year 1937, and he would pass away in 1957. The Spokesman Review, October 5th, 1957 reads, "2 die and 4 hurt in bus car crash, stop sign ignored. Everyone involved in the crash was from Davenport. The Spokane City Lines bus driver was John Hagel. Killed in the collision were Kay Marie, age 2 years, and James Knappert, age 19 years. Policemen William Beeman and Lloyd Cole said that the car was going west and the bus south. The bus hit the car almost in the middle and caved it into half of its width. All of the occupants were thrown out except Knappert and little Kay. They did not see the sign. Beeman and Cole said Millard told them that he and his friends had been to a movie here and were driving along Longfellow slowly looking at houses. He told police that he didn't see the stop sign on the corner and drove right through it. The bus driver said that he didn't see the car until it was in his path. Luckily, no passengers were on the bus. The car and bus, almost welded together by the impact, came to a halt in a yard on the southwest corner. Ada Knighton Long was born on March 24th, 1871 in Oregon, and she would pass away on November 22nd, 1906 at the age of 35 in Spokane. Her cause of death was septicemia. Harvey Roger Luton was born in 1923 in Idaho, and he would pass away on September 21st, 1943. He was 19 or 20 years old. Davenport man dies on flight. The body of Harvey Luton, 19, Navy Aviation Ordnance Man 3rd Class, was found in the wreckage of a Navy plane near Key West, Florida, Friday, and it is believed that he was killed instantly with 5 others in the crash. The body will be sent from Key West to Davenport with a naval escort. The youth was reported missing on September 22nd while on a routine training flight, a previous telegram said. John Thomas Lyons was born sometime in February in the year 1918. He would pass away on May 16, 1958 at the age of 40 years. Truck accident fatal to Lyons. John T. Lyons, 40, died shortly after his light flatbed truck overturned late yesterday afternoon 14 miles west of Harrington on the Coffee Pot Lake Road. State Patrolman Jack McDonald said that the truck failed to negotiate a curve, struck a rock embankment, bounced back into the highway, and overturned several times. Lyons, alone in the truck, suffered a skull fracture and died within a few minutes. John reportedly had been working in that area for several years, collecting fish bait for a Spokane firm. He also served 3 years overseas in World War II. Olney Earl McCurtain was born on August 12, 1910, and he would pass away on September 7, 1928, at the young age of 18. The Spokane Chronicle on September 8, 1928 reads, 2 Lincoln County High School boys were killed and a companion was seriously injured when an automobile in which they were riding struck a bridge railing and went into a ditch on a detour east of Davenport at midnight last night. The 2 dead are Charles O'Rourke, 18, whose parents live north of Reardon, and Olney McCurtain, 18 years. The boys left Davenport last night at about 10 o'clock. At the George Huffman place on the detour, the car failed to negotiate a narrow bridge and plunged into the ditch, turning completely around. Both boys were dead when found, and another was seriously injured. Charles was under the car, and Olney was hanging from the wreckage by his knees. Janet Faye Michael was born sometime in 1930, and she would pass away sometime in 1935. Girl dies of pneumonia. Janet Faye Michael, aged 4, died of pneumonia at the farm home of her parents, Mr. and Mrs. John Michael. Walter Moore was born on August 9, 1893, and he would pass away on June 9, 1909, at the young age of 15. His birth certificate says that his cause of death was accidental drowning. Vernon Ray Newcomb was born on April 14, 1917 in Idaho, and he would pass away on November 15, 1945. He was 28 years old. The Spokesman Review on November 18, 1945 reads, "Rancher found dead of wound." The body of Vernon Newcomb, 28, believed to have taken his own life with a .22 caliber rifle, was discovered at his home 20 miles east of Davenport. Ed Knowles, Newcomb's partner in farming interests, found the body when he went to the ranch to take supplies to Newcomb. Prosecuting attorney Fred Campbell and Sheriff Charles McCaffrey, who investigated, said the man had been dead for 3 or 4 days. Knowles said that he took groceries and other supplies to Newcomb about twice a week and had not seen his partner for several days. Relatives were unable to give a reason for the suicide. Leonard Earl Reagan was born on March 11, 1927, and he would pass away on January 7, 1953. He was 25 years old. Funeral held for boat victim. Last rites were held at the Presbyterian Church for Leonard Reagan, 25, who drowned in the Spokane River on January 8th. Leonard was attempting to cross the river from Miles to his work at the Lincoln Lumber Company when a violent wind upset his small motorboat. His body was recovered the following day. Cornelius Rookstool was born on October 2, 1850 in Indiana, and he would pass away at the age of 77 on July 11, 1928, right here in Davenport, Washington. Pioneer found dead in barn. Cornelius Rookstool, Davenport farmer, ignored doctor's advice. Crossed plains in 1878. Cornelius, age 77, a pioneer of this region, was found dead in his barn about 10 miles from Davenport on Hawks Creek by Brian Fitzpatrick, a neighbor who had come to call on him. Yesterday, Mr. Rookstool was found unconscious in the barn, and the doctor was called from Davenport. He told Cornelius that he was in serious condition and advised him to come to town for a rest. Evidently, the doctor had no more than left the place before Mr. Rookstool got up and began to work again in the barn, and probably was stricken soon afterwards. Edward F. Stang was born on September 11th, 1817, and he would pass away on October 13th, 1937 at the age of 70. Pioneer taken by hill crash. Ed Stang, 70, who came here more than 50 years ago and had since farmed some 10 miles south of town, died tonight after his auto collided with one driven by the descendant of another pioneer of the region. Mr. Stang succumbed in an ambulance as he was being hurried to the Deaconess Hospital in Spokane. After the twilight crash hit the brow of the hill on his way to town. Alvin Paulson, a young farmer whose family co-pioneered with the dead man, was taken to St. Luke's Hospital for treatment of grave internal hurts. The two were alone driving in opposite directions over a hilly country road, and investigators supposed that they met head-on in the dim evening light. Phyllis Zemer was born on August 11th, 1915, right here in Washington State. And she would pass away on December 5th, 2017. She lived to be almost 103 years old. She was a member of the Lutheran Church for more than 70 years. She lived a full life. She loved tending to her flower garden, playing the piano, watching baseball, ladies' bowling league, and recollections of her travels to Germany. I hope you enjoy the rest of the videos of this awesome cemetery out here in Davenport, Washington that goes by the name of the Mountain View Cemetery. Thank you.